Hello and welcome to the Faculty of Law at UTS and to this Juris Doctor and Legal Studies webinar. My name is Maxine Evers and I'm the Associate Dean for Education in the Faculty of Law at the University of Technology. Before we begin this evening's webinar and information, I would first of all like to acknowledge the Eora people, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation upon whose land this university stands. We are very lucky to be on land that is owned by our Indigenous peoples that had the knowledge and the ability to share that knowledge and stories of their past, of their history, and their perspectives about law. And it's such a fitting place for a law school to be. As I said, my name is Maxine Evers and I am the Associate Dean for Education in the Law Faculty. My role is to work with my colleagues, both academic and professional, in ensuring that the design and the delivery of our law courses are of high quality and standard in accordance with the university's reputation. So the purpose of this evening's webinar is to give you some information about a few of our postgraduate programs, in particular our Juris Doctor, or JD as we refer to it, and our legal studies courses, of which there are several courses commencing at the graduate certificate level and working up all the way to the Juris Doctor. So these two topics are related, but they are also standalone courses that you can undertake. So the format of our webinar will be that we'll go through the slides. There's an opportunity for you to pop questions in the Q&A box that you can see. Some of those questions will be answered as we proceed through the webinar by my professional colleagues, and then other questions I will leave until the end of the webinar and answer, and we'll endeavour to get through all the questions. If we don't, we will certainly get back to you with answers to those that we can't get to this evening. The Juris Doctor program at UTS has been offered for over 11 years now. We were the second university in Australia to offer the JD program and the first in New South Wales. This slide that I'm showing you now really highlights why I consider the UTS Law School to be distinctive from other law schools. This webinar is not about promoting our law school as a better law school than other law schools in New South Wales or indeed in Australia, but as to why you would think about studying at UTS. Some of you this evening may have already undertaken study with us, and so you have a very good understanding of the UTS way, what makes us different from other law schools. Some of you may not have heard of UTS before, though many of you, I'm sure, have done your homework and have started, as you're thinking about postgraduate study, looking at different courses and different universities. So our reputation is very much in many ways based in the name of the university as a university of technology, and as a law school in a university of technology. That is very much about knowing our place in terms of the study of law, the practice of law, and really looking to the future of how law will impact on our society. We have a tradition here at UTS as being very much based in the professions and very much based in practice. So as you can see, particularly the last point on the slide that you're looking at now, our assessments are very well based on what you would be doing in the real world. We talk about that in teaching terms as authentic assessment, but it's doing exercises such as providing advice, delivering presentations, working collaboratively with peers, doing negotiations, and those very much skills-based type of learning. But as a young university, we are very much focused on a very much collaborative style of learning, whether that be online or whether that be in the classroom. So we're very much based around a partnership between teacher and student in ensuring that our students are work ready, particularly our postgraduate students that would be undertaking the Juris Doctor or the legal studies courses, really building on prior learning, prior qualifications, and prior experience to bring that richness into the course, and learning from each other is also a great way to do that at a postgraduate level. You may well be aware of how well our university is going in terms of the ranks and the ratings. That also applies to our law school. And I think one of the really distinctive ways that we design and we deliver our courses is very much a partnership between our academics that are here in the faculty that teach and that research and that contribute to law reform and other community service in the law, together with our casual academics who are experienced practitioners that work with our permanent academics to ensure that the teaching that we deliver is both very much based in professional practice, but also cutting edge in terms of our research. Another one of the distinctive characteristics of UTS, particularly from a practical perspective, and I think that's very relevant to postgraduate students, is our flexibility. When you come to UTS, you're not defined as a full-time student or a part-time student. You can choose the number of core subjects that you undertake depending on the busyness that you have at a time. So you might be what be considered a full-time student in one semester and undertake 3 or 4 subjects. In the next semester, because of other things happening in your life, you might undertake 1 or 2 subjects. So you have that ability to really map out your own course of study and to change that course of study if need be. As a law school, though, we also have a tradition very much based on a part-time degree. So when we first started our undergraduate degree over 40 years ago, it was very much geared towards people that were working and would come down here to the university and study as part-time. So that beginning has really in many ways informed how we deliver our teaching. So in our core subjects, we have both daytime classes as well as nighttime classes. But of course, now we have started to embed much more technology in the design of our teaching. So we have a range of our elective subjects that are offered by way of blocks. So students come onto campus for particularly a Thursday, Friday or Saturday and do their learning across those couple of days. They then come back at the end of the session to bring all that learning together. And we also offer several subjects in remote or online learning. So there's that ability to be flexible and that ability to have a range of different delivery modes to suit everyone's, particularly as I've said, postgraduate students, other circumstances. If you are joining us at this evening's webinar and you have studied at UTS, then of course you are part of our alumni family. And as a member of that alumni family, you are entitled to a 10% savings on your fees. Similarly, if you study with us now and you go on to do another course, and I'll talk a little bit about one of the courses that is attached to the Juris Doctor, our practical legal training, then if you did the practical legal training following the Juris Doctor, you would also be entitled to that 10% savings. So they are really what I consider to be some of the main reasons why we are a distinctive law school, and I'll talk more about those as we go through this evening's webinar. Many of you will have either friends or family that have entered the legal profession, or you have done some research and you have looked at the pathways from being a law student to becoming a lawyer in New South Wales and in Australia. So this is really a map just to remind you of the process to becoming a member of the New South Wales legal profession. So your first step is exactly what you're doing this evening. This webinar is thinking about undertaking an academic legal qualification. And tonight we're speaking about the Juris Doctor. We also offer an undergraduate program of either a 4-year Bachelor of Laws or a number of combined law degrees with other disciplines. The advantage, of course, of the Juris Doctor is that it's a postgraduate program and it is a shorter program because we are already delivering content to students that have studied before. So, of course, we're able to accelerate that learning beyond what you would be doing as an undergraduate student. So we have the 3-year Juris Doctor, and then For graduates, and many of our JD students do wish to go on to practice law, they must undertake practical legal training, which UTS has offered here for over 20 years. We have a very successful PLT program that you can either combine with the Juris Doctor, or you can do in addition to completion of the JD. That then allows you to apply to be admitted to practice as a legal practitioner in New South Wales. So the law is based here in Australia in accordance with states and territories. But because we have a national profession, once you are admitted to the New South Wales Supreme Court, that also means you are admitted to the jurisdictions of the other states and territories. You're then able to practice as a lawyer as a solicitor, in particular for a period of 2 years under supervision. You can also at that time decide to go to the bar and become a barrister. And to do so, there's a little bit of an additional study that you need to sit and qualify for the bar exams. And UTS has very much covered the journey in law that if you do wish to be admitted as a barrister and undertake the bar exams, we have a preparation course here that's very popular to have lawyers to practice what's going to happen in a bar exam. And when they successfully pass the bar exam, they're then admitted to the bar and work as a barrister. If you are not yet sure about whether you want to become a lawyer, or you know that you don't want to become a lawyer, but you do want to have more legal knowledge and more skills. So for example, in your current profession, you might be working in workplaces and environments that really call on an understanding and a knowledge of the law. It might be something in relation to intellectual property. It could be in relation to contracts. It could be in relation to overseas, international trade, global environments, etc., where an understanding of law would really assist you. Then you can undertake some of our legal studies courses that I'll talk about a little bit later on. And you never know, you might, once you undertake those legal studies courses, really fall in love with the law and want to go on to continue to complete the Juris Doctor, which you can, because they're an incremental development of subjects, and then go through the becoming a lawyer process. You can see here that we offer several variations of the Juris Doctor. And this is something that you can spend some time thinking about, and we can give you further advice about which JD program would suit you. Particularly in more recent times, we know there has been a real demand for both being a lawyer and being an intellectual property practitioner. We have a very long established intellectual property program here at the university. We have been running that program online for many, many years, and it is an accredited program with the Trans-Tasman Attorneys Board. So we put together both the intellectual property qualifications with the law qualifications to do a combination, either JD, Master of Intellectual Property, or the JD Graduate Certificate in Trademark Law and Practice for those that want to be trademark practitioners. The advantage of combining our courses is to really accelerate your learning, and when you graduate, you have that double qualification. Similarly, with the business school, we offer the JD MBA. So for students that really have an interest in maybe working in the area of business, commerce and finance, then a JD MBA is a course that is really suited at that very much senior level of professional work. And then of course we have the standalone 3-year JD. And for those that want to stay on and be admitted to practice, and again, in terms of being a little bit of a shorter period of time, you can undertake combined the JD and the practical legal training course, which is our graduate certificate in professional legal practice. So there are quite a few options for you in relation to the JD. The most popular one of our courses is the 3-year JD, but there are certainly those other ones that suit people's specific circumstances. And as I mentioned earlier, if you have decided that you don't want to have a law degree that's going to lead you to qualification as a lawyer, but you do know that you need, and you will be much more work ready or work prepared, or looking for a different direction in your career or further qualifications, with legal knowledge and legal skills, then these are our legal studies courses that sit under the Juris Doctor. So the subjects that you undertake in the Juris Doctor are by and large available in these legal studies courses. And they're a combination of what we call core subjects or compulsory subjects that you would do regardless of the law school that you studied at. So it might be contract law, commercial law, equity, criminal law, administration law, public international law, just to name a few. So these subjects are also available in these legal studies courses, together with a range of electives. And it would invite you to have a look at our handbook and the information on our website to see the various electives that we offer. And I'll speak a little bit more about our electives as we go through further into the webinar. So our Masters of Legal Studies courses are made up commencing with the graduate certificate. So that's a half year or one semester full-time program, or 1 year as a part-time program. So the graduate certificate consists of 4 subjects. Our subjects are 6 credit points each, and that will lead you to 24 credit points, which is the qualification required for a graduate certificate. We recommend undertaking or enrolling in the graduate certificate if you're not quite sure what you want to do with your legal studies. You might not have studied for a period of time. You could be a little bit apprehensive about returning to study. Then the grad cert is a good way to start. So it's quite well packaged, and you can see the end of it, and it is really what we would refer to as an advanced taster. If you feel a little bit more confident and you have a little bit more knowledge about what you really want to do in terms of studying law, then the Diploma in Legal Studies is the next step for you to consider undertaking. And as a full-time student, you could complete the grad diploma in 1 year, or 2 years a part-time student. And then finally, our Master of Legal Studies, which is really an advanced level course, which sits at the same in terms of the Australian Qualification Higher Education Framework. So the body that overseas courses will put the Masters of Legal Studies at the same AQF, Australian Qualifications Framework level, as the Juris Doctor. So it is an advanced postgraduate study. And the type of students that undertake the Masters of Legal Studies are those that really want to immerse themselves in knowledge of the law, skills, and the application of legal skills with legal knowledge, but they don't want to go on to practice law. But as I said earlier, some of our students that undertake the grad cert or the grad diploma, or indeed the Masters of Legal Studies, will take all that learning and they will move it up to the Juris Doctor, which you are able to do through accelerating into those higher courses. Again, the Masters of Legal Studies is getting very close to a JD. It's 1 year less than a JD, but it's really, as I said, that for those students that are not sure or have decided that they don't want to undertake legal studies leading to admission to practice, but really want those skills and knowledge. As I've said, the legal studies course sits under the JD course. So what that means is that the subjects that you would undertake if you're doing a JD are available in the graduate certificate, graduate diploma, and Master of Legal Studies. And again, it's a good way as a pathway to an introduction to either the Masters or to the JD, starting with the graduate certificate or the graduate diploma. And what I think is, again, one of the advantages of the course here at UTS, besides the flexibility of being a part-time or a full-time student or studying by day or by night, is that you can make those decisions once you have started. You don't have to enroll in the higher, longer course. You can undertake the shorter course and then articulate into the higher, longer courses. And particularly the graduate certificate as our one full-time semester for full-time students, or a year for part-time students, is that you undertake those mandatory subjects that are the building blocks of the JD. So it really does give you a very rich immersion into what the JD will look like, and a good way for you to kind of test if this is what you would really like to pursue in terms of study and future employment. So it's a good structure, I think, for different ranges of applications, and really knowing about where you are on your kind of journey of study. I mentioned in our courses, particularly in our courses that lead to admission as a legal practitioner, that there are core subjects that you need to study regardless of the law school that you're at. These are determined by the Legal Profession Admission Board, which sets those mandatory areas of knowledge that all students must undertake. So really for our students, where I think a lot of the fun is, a lot of that ability to thrive, a lot of that opportunity to build on your current work or your previous study, or areas that you have just always been interested in and would like to really to get a richer and deeper understanding, are the electives. And we have a range of electives, including several electives that allow you to study overseas. And what we have done with our electives, we've developed them into clusters, or what we're calling streams, or you might also refer to them as strengths. So for students that want to really specialise in a particular area of law, we have put together a suite of subjects that students can really immerse themselves in. If students don't know which areas they want to really concentrate on, or want to have a very general look at our electives, then you can choose electives from any of these clusters. You don't have to enroll in a cluster and stay in that. It's just, for us, it's a way to show students where our strengths are in teaching and our strengths are in research. So our academics that are researching into these areas are also teaching in these areas. Similarly to our casual academics who are practicing these areas, they will come and teach into these particular subjects. So you can see there that we have, as I said, a really good range of different clusters of electives, as well as opportunities for research. So we encourage our postgraduate students to draw on their research that they may have undertaken in their undergraduate degree or in their workplace, if you're in a research role, to do a research paper or a research project, or to immerse yourself in other what we call experiential subjects, which might be working in a clinic, might be undertaking an internship, and we have internships both in locally and internships overseas as well. But particularly for students that are in current environments, might be one where you've got a very much a global focus. You might have international clients. You might be working with businesses or communities or agencies, across the globe. Then we offer a range of international law subjects for those people that are working in DR, would like to further their skills in dispute resolution and look at different types of legal practice, whether that be around employment, whether it be around trademarks. Then the legal practice and dispute resolution is a very good stream. I would invite you to take the time to look at our website and to look at our handbook, which will set out more details about the electives that we offer at UTS. I've already mentioned the flexibility that across the university we have, and particularly in the law faculty, and just confirming that I go back to drawing on our tradition of being a university that had been really designed and accessed by part-time students, particularly given our location, that still holds our students in good stead today. So many of our students, including our postgraduate students, are working in the city, and then will come down if they're doing face-to-face classes down here to Haymarket, to the university. Similarly, our students, when they are undertaking study here, find that it's a great location to obtain work, particularly in law. So it might be working in a law firm in the city, might be working in barristers' chambers, might be working for an agency around the city, and they can then come and go from the university into the city to work in a part-time role and start to get that real taste of working in the law. The way that our courses here at UTS, particularly our JD, but also our undergraduate law course, is that we spend a lot of time with our students, particularly in that first year. So we talk about a transition into the study of law. So our first year, our first semester subjects are very much based around small group teaching. That enables students to get to know their teachers and also to get to know each other, so that they're developing a cohort or a community of practice. So that it means it's seminar-based teaching in our first year subjects, and then as you develop the greater capacity for learning, and as we move through our course, then some of our subjects are offered in a lecture, tutorial model, and some remain in our seminar model, and our electives are delivered in seminar model. We have, because we are at the University of Technology, have the capacity to deliver our lectures in online mode. So that enables students to access the lectures when it's most convenient for themselves, and to also to have the ability to go back and to re-listen, to engage with, to ensure that they have understood the content that might be delivered in a lecture before they move into their classes to apply the content that has been delivered. I've mentioned also the flexibility around our range of delivery of our electives. So particularly in our postgraduate courses, and we've been doing this for several years, is block study. That's obviously very convenient for people that are working full-time. It does usually involve either a Thursday or a Friday, Saturday model. So it might mean that if you are working full-time, you have to take some leave to attend block classes on a Thursday or a Friday. But our timetable makes that very clear as to when the classes are to be offered. They're intensive. Again, the design is usually around the model of the subject coordinator, taking the subject, but also integrating guest lectures and obviously lots of activities, learning activities, collaboration, peer group work, teacher to student work in that time across the block mode. And then particularly again for our JD students, together with block teaching, we also have a range of electives that are delivered online. Some of those electives we draw from our intellectual property program, which is a totally online program. So students can undertake study as remote learners in our electives, but our core subjects are delivered on campus in face-to-face mode. Particularly the way that our course is designed, our core subjects are the first 2 years of the Juris Doctor, or pretty well the first 18 months of the Master of Legal Studies. And so you get that introductory legal knowledge, then it's built on through the other intermediate and advanced core subjects. And then the last year or last 6 months is your time to fly with your electives. And that's where we know many students are working full-time and really need the opportunity to study in different modes. I've already mentioned that the ability to move between full-time and part-time study. We also have the ability here at UTS to take leave of absence. So if you're finding that your study is not able to be done completely, and it's something that through personal circumstances or professional circumstances you need to take a break from your study, you can take up to 2 years or 4 semesters of leave of absence. And that's, I think, particularly helpful for postgraduate students that often have other things happening in their lives. And then, of course, we're making the most use of technology that we can to ensure that students are able to go back and build on their learning. Some of you may have heard of the learning platform Canvas, and our courses here at UTS are moving to the Canvas learning platform. So it's a very user-friendly, a very light, a very bright, a very inviting platform that you can move freely between subjects and between content to really make the most of your learning. And really much a part of Canvas is that flexibility and that freedom that it gives to students to learn at times that best suit them. I mentioned earlier the emphasis that we do have on research skills in the law, and we have a series of what we term graduate attributes through all our programs here in the law school at UTS. And one of our graduate attributes in law is research, and you may be doing research in your current employment. You may have done some research in your previous study. And for students that really want to be very advanced with their research, that really want to test their skills in research and in a particular topic within the law, then you can undertake what is called in the undergraduate world honours and is called in the JD world as distinction. So the opportunity to graduate with distinction is for high achieving students that undertake a research paper supervised by an academic in the faculty. It's a semester-long paper where you're working one-on-one with your supervisor to produce a very rich and very grounded piece of research. Some of our students go on to publish their research in journals, and as the slide indicates, it's a very strong feature when students are applying for jobs to be able to talk about the learnings that they gain from doing the research paper, even not just a deeper understanding of that particular topic that they've undertaken, but also skills around research, critical analysis, self-management, really collating all the work that they have done. So we really encourage our students that are doing well to think about doing that research paper to enable them to graduate with distinction. It also gives you a great opportunity to work very closely with academics, and some of our JD students that undertake research then think about a career in academia and go on to do further research such as a PhD. But it really does build on those skills of research, writing and self-management. So something to think about, again, particularly if you are wanting to build on undergraduate study or in your employment. There's one of those questions that have really been always playing on your mind that you wanted to have the opportunity, you wanted to have permission to delve deeper into, then the research paper is really well set up to do that. Here's a little bit more of information about our graduate outcomes. Universities and faculties have always been assessed, and there is a lot of survey work that goes on with graduates and students, and one of those large national surveys is the Quality Indicators for Learning and Teaching, known as the QUILT survey, and there's just a couple of statistics on this slide about how we're faring in the postgraduate space. We take these statistics very seriously, just as we take our student feedback surveys very seriously. So every semester, our students are surveyed about their subjects. I'm very aware that sometimes students suffer from survey fatigue, but from the faculty's perspective, and certainly part of my role is to work with our teachers to review feedback, to see how we can improve, to communicate the changes that we've made to subjects based on student feedback. We're particularly pleased, and this is across the university, but this statistic is relating to our law graduates, that we have a very strong rate in terms of graduates finding employment within 4 months of graduating. And we feel that's particularly important in the legal profession, because for several years there has been discussion, and sometimes you'll see that in the media, about there being too many lawyers, there being too many law students, there being too many law schools. And we know that many of our graduates, whilst they will be admitted to practice and they may well practice as a solicitor or a barrister, they could also take on other careers that a law degree has prepared them to do. So there are many options, and our career service is talking to students all the time about the different options they can do with a law degree, or with a legal studies qualification, where you've made the decision that you don't want the law degree, but you do want the additional skills and knowledge that the law will bring to you. As I've mentioned, a law school and university technology really places us at the forefront of embracing technology and its impact on the law and its impact on legal practice. So the last couple of years, this has been a focus of our law school in working how we can prepare our graduates to be able to work in a new work environment, whether that be influenced by artificial intelligence, whether it be influenced by the threats of cybersecurity, and whether it be impacted by the changes in data collection and the ability to work with data. And the law has been impacted hugely by technology, and that's from anything from courts being undertaken remotely to examination of witnesses, to exchange of documents, to acknowledgement of documents, etc. So in our postgraduate courses, we have several opportunities for students to really concentrate on this impact of technology, both in our core subjects, in research opportunities, and also in one of the electives that we offer around disruptive technologies. One of what I would refer to as the pillars of University of Technology, and again it sits very well in a law faculty, is our commitment to social justice. And we know many law schools talk about this commitment to social justice, and indeed the legal profession has a commitment to social justice. So it fits very well that our law students start to embrace their ability to think about what it means to be able to facilitate access to the law reform and social justice. So you can see on this slide, we have several opportunities for our students to immerse themselves in and around social justice. And one particular program that we are particularly proud of is our Brennan Justice and Leadership program, which is a co-curricular program. So it's not for academic credit, but students have the ability to increase and expand their leadership and service skills and graduate from that program, which, a little bit like the research paper, is a really important aspect of study that students talk about when they are applying for jobs. It's one that the profession is very interested in to know more about, the Brennan Justice and Leadership program. We're also home here at UTS to Anti-Slavery Australia, which is the leading really institution and agency in relation to law reform against slavery. And then AustLII, you may well have heard of, the Australasian Legal Information Institute, which has been the forerunner of access to legal information and has enabled all citizens to be able to access legal information, has also spread globally. So from a student's perspective, there are sometimes internships available in these subjects. Some of the teachers in electives are working in these centres, and there's opportunities for research work. We know that study, whether it be at the undergraduate level or the postgraduate level, can sometimes be difficult, even for postgraduate students as yourself. Coming back to study is not always easy, and it's something that takes a lot of consideration and a great deal of commitment. So I think one of the, again, distinguishing features of our law faculty is that we have a role here of director of students, and it's a role that I have been in previously, and I have really enjoyed the opportunity to work closely with students in student programs, in our mentoring programs, but also as a touch point for students that have those questions or concerns about their study. I've mentioned leave of absence. Students may want to have some adjustments to their assessments. They might need some advice about careers, etc. They might want some advice about which electives they should undertake, what order they should do their study in. So our Director of Students is available for all students, undergraduate and postgraduate students, to really be a sounding board, to provide advice, but also to triage students, because I think, you know, universities are big places and students can sometimes get lost. If you're a postgraduate student and you're studying part-time, sometimes it's hard when you're not always here on campus to find the right service available. So a director of students will send you in the right direction. Again, for postgraduate students in particular, coming back to study after a period of time might be a little bit daunting. So UTS Helps is there for all students to guide them and to assist them in relation to language and literacy skills. So that first essay, you're not quite sure how to approach it. You want to unbundle what the question is. You want to get some guidance around how to structure something. Then UTS Helps offers a one-on-one service, but they also offer a great range of resources online to help students just to start if they're coming back into study. I've mentioned careers, and we're very lucky, particularly where we're situated here in the university, to be in the same building as the career service, and they provide advice, one-on-one guidance, as well as advertise careers for students, and they do a lot of outreach with employers around providing opportunities for students both in internships but also in permanent employment. And we're very lucky that the careers service provides a postgraduate careers consultant. So her area of expertise is working with students in the postgraduate space, because we recognise that postgraduate students are different and have different needs and interests to undergraduate students. This is our beautiful building here on Broadway, Building 2, that was opened early in 2020, and we are very lucky as a law school to occupy the top 3 floors of this building, 14, 15 and 16. 14 is really our student level, where we have our moot court and our 2 trial courts, and I invite you, if you are in the city and around this way, to come and have a look at our beautiful building. So our level 14 with our trial courts also has a lot of student spaces where students can have informal and formal meetings around their study. And of course, we're well placed, as well as having the careers service that I've already mentioned. We also have the library here in Building 2, which has a dedicated law librarian to assist students. And again, if you're starting study and you're a little bit apprehensive about that, it's the library has tours, but it's also, I think, worthwhile touching base with a law librarian. They can give you a great deal of assistance. And you can see also on this slide the other resources and services that are available to students in Building 2, particularly a great coffee shop that I would recommend. Here's some information about fees, and of course the fees are depending on which course you're undertaking, the length of the course. So this will give you a guide to fees. We also encourage you to have a look at further fees information on our website, but our fees are worked out on a credit point basis. So obviously the longer the course, the more expensive the course is. As postgraduate students, you're eligible for fee help, and there's the link there to the fee help information. And as I've already mentioned, if you are a member of our alumni community, you will receive a 10% fee saving. Or if, for example, you undertake your Juris Doctor with us and then you don't do the combined degree, but you decide to the combined JD PLT, but you then decide to go on and study the PLT, you would get a 10% saving on that PLT. You see now the dates for our autumn session, which is our next session, which will be commencing next year, commencing on the 22nd of February. So our calendar is a little bit different next year. We're starting a little bit earlier, and you've got our spring session date there as well. There's the information about our courses and the dates for application. So you have plenty of time to think about studying. As I've said, we acknowledge that undertaking study is a commitment. It's a commitment in time, it's a commitment in energy, it's a commitment in terms of your work and your other personal circumstances. It's also a financial commitment, so it's something that we take very seriously. There'll be many other opportunities for you to get more information about our courses here.